Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So from a Fabrizio Romano exclusive, to a massive development coming out of Africa, to Newcastle United given a major boost in their pursuit of a Premier League defensive gem, we'll also reveal the latest update on Newcastle's potential move for a Frankfurt star. As per, join us as we'll break it all down.
Let's go.
So as Fabrizio Romano delivered his trademark, here we go, Newcastle United fans were treated to another thrilling statement of intent. To show how scary attractive the Newcastle project is, the Magpies are reportedly set to beat both Real Madrid and Barcelona to the signature of Spanish wonderkid Antonio Cordero, a move that underlines just how far the club has come. This isn't the Newcastle of old. With silverware in the cabinet and Champions League football firmly within reach, Tyneside has transformed into a genuine destination for Europe's brightest talents. If this is the new standard, where top prospects pick Newcastle over historically dominant clubs, the future is looking incredibly bright for Eddie Howe's men. Cordero's arrival is exciting not just because of his talent, but because of the caliber of clubs that were tracking him. That said, it's important to temper expectations. At just 18, and with no top-flight experience, he won't be walking into the first team anytime soon. As has become typical under Howe's management, younger signings undergo a transition period, time to adapt to the demands of the club, the system, and the league. We saw it with Yankuba Minteh, who had a strong loan spell at Feyenoord before Newcastle, under financial pressure, reluctantly sold him to Brighton. A similar route is being considered for Cordero. According to Craig Hope, the plan is to loan him out immediately, as he's not yet considered first-team ready. This approach prioritizes long-term development over short-term gains, a model that has worked well for clubs with sustainable growth in mind. Newcastle have long been in need of a reliable right winger, so when Minteh showed such promise, his sale to a Premier League rival was understandably met with frustration. However, the circumstances have changed. Financially, the club is in a stronger position than it was last summer, when a points deduction loomed, and there's no indication that Cordero will be moved on prematurely. While no destination for his loan has been confirmed, the aim is clear: to develop his raw ability into Premier League quality, just as he's shown flashes of at Malaga. At Malaga, he's had a breakout campaign in Spain's Segunda Division, tallying 5 goals and 6 assists, a solid return for a teenager. Still, whether that translates to Premier League readiness is uncertain. His heat maps show he's more comfortable on the left wing, however, meaning he may face stiff competition from the likes of Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon. More likely, Cordero will have to prove himself through the academy setup and potentially get minutes during pre-season before pushing for a senior place. And that's okay. He's still just 18. Patience will be key. Interestingly, Malaga appear to have been caught off guard by the news. According to AS, the club has yet to receive any official contact from Cordero's representatives, despite reports that a deal with Newcastle is already done and dusted. The news has reportedly hit Malaga like a bombshell, especially in the midst of a poor run of form. Club officials are said to be bemused, particularly after Cordero's recent deplorable performance against Huesca, a display that hinted his head might already be elsewhere. While it's clear that Cordero has no intention of signing a new deal with Malaga, the manner in which this move is unfolding has left a sour taste. It's a strange twist to what could otherwise be viewed as a routine transfer of a young star on the rise. Antonio Cordero may not be a household name yet, but the fact that Newcastle are beating clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona to his signature speaks volumes. This deal is about more than just one player. It's about the club's growing stature, strategic vision, and ambition for the future. Whether Cordero becomes a star at St. James's Park or not, his signing represents a bold step in the evolution of Newcastle United. A club no longer on the outside looking in, but one that's very much in the mix when Europe's elite come calling. So as the summer transfer window edges closer, Newcastle United have once again found themselves at the center of key transfer conversations. With a sizable budget expected to be made available, the club is targeting top-tier talent to bolster the squad, and one of the Premier League's rising stars could soon be on the move. Among the players on Newcastle's radar is Bournemouth's highly rated centre-back Dean Huijsen. According to Give Me Sport, the Spanish international is understood to favour remaining in the Premier League if he leaves the Cherries this summer, a development that significantly boosts Newcastle's chances of securing his signature. Huijsen, who only arrived at Bournemouth in 2024, has quickly caught the eye with his composed performances and versatility. Comfortable on the ball, capable with both feet, and possessing a calmness under pressure that belies his age. The 20-year-old fits the profile of a modern ball-playing centre-back. With a reported release clause of £50 million in his contract, Huijsen won't come cheap. But for a club with Newcastle's ambitions and newfound financial strength, that figure is more than attainable. In today's inflated market, it's a fair price for a player with his upside and ceiling. Newcastle's interest in Huijsen isn't casual. There's a clear long-term vision here. The club see him as a potential partner to Sven Botman at the heart of defense, building a duo that could anchor Eddie Howe's backline for years to come. That said, the competition will be fierce. The report claims that Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham are all tracking Huijsen as well, setting up what could become one of the summer's most competitive transfer battles. However, unlike previous years, Newcastle are now well positioned to compete financially with the Premier League's elite. The decision may ultimately come down to the project that appeals most to the player, and there's every reason to believe Newcastle can offer both a platform for development and a serious shot at European football. While Huijsen is tied to Bournemouth until 2030, a move feels increasingly inevitable. His trajectory points toward a future at one of Europe's biggest clubs, and it may just be a question of when, not if, that leap happens. There's still the possibility he stays with Bournemouth for another season to continue his development, but with Newcastle's renewed push for young top-level talent, the time could be right to make a statement signing at the back. Dean Huijsen represents more than just another name in the rumour mill. He's a symbol of where Newcastle United are heading. From also-rans to serious contenders, the club now has the pull, the platform, and the purse to compete at the very highest level. If Huijsen is indeed open to staying in the Premier League, the Magpies have every reason to be confident. Furthermore, Newcastle United are actively assessing their attacking options, with a new striker high on the club's wish list. The need for added firepower has become increasingly clear, especially with veteran Callum Wilson expected to depart and William Osula still viewed as a long-term project. Callum Wilson's contract is set to expire at the end of the season, and with no extension in sight, all signs point to his exit. Now 33, Wilson has struggled to make an impact from the bench this season, and with Newcastle set to compete in Europe once again, squad depth, particularly in the attacking department, will be crucial. At the top of the pecking order remains Alexander Isak. The Swedish striker has been in phenomenal form, drawing admiring glances from Liverpool and Arsenal. However, club chairman Yasir Al-Rumayyan reportedly considers Isak his favourite player and has no intention of letting him leave, making him the undisputed focal point of Eddie Howe's attack moving forward. Newcastle's interest in Hugo Ekitike stretches back to 2022, when the young striker opted to join Paris Saint-Germain over a move to Tyneside. Since then, the 21-year-old has rebuilt his reputation at Eintracht Frankfurt, scoring 14 goals in 28 Bundesliga games this season, his best campaign yet. Now the Magpies are once again monitoring the Frenchman, but the asking price could prove to be a major stumbling block. In a recent update, according to Bild, Frankfurt value Ekitike at a minimum of £77 million, with suggestions that the fee could rise as high as £85 million. That figure would shatter Newcastle's current transfer record and may force the club to reconsider their stance. Despite his quality, Ekitike would walk into a potentially awkward situation at Newcastle. Isak is undroppable on current form, and any incoming striker must be prepared to compete for limited minutes. Given the size of the potential fee, it's fair to assume Ekitike would expect to be a guaranteed starter, something Howe simply cannot offer right now. With European fixtures and a congested schedule on the horizon, Newcastle are right to pursue more depth up front. But given the current landscape, splashing £80 million on a player who may not start regularly would be a risk, especially with the likes of Premier League proven Liam Delap costing just a mere £30 million. Instead, the club may be better served targeting a more affordable, high-upside striker who understands the role, similar to how Manchester City integrated Julian Alvarez behind Erling Haaland. That approach could preserve funds for strengthening other key areas, while also keeping the dressing room dynamics balanced. Then, Newcastle United's push to become a global talent hub continues to gain momentum, with the club now showing real interest in 15-year-old striking sensation Asharaf Tapsoba, currently starring at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The club is keen on discovering future talents, with head of recruitment Steve Nixon actively seeking potential signings at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. According to the Boot Room, the Magpies have been keeping close tabs on Tapsoba during the tournament, with head of recruitment Steve Nixon leading the scouting mission on the ground. Tapsoba, who plies his trade at Real de Faso in Burkina Faso, has lit up the tournament with 7 goals to date, making him the competition's top scorer. His blend of pace, movement, and raw finishing ability has already drawn comparisons to Nigerian international and Napoli superstar Victor Osimhen. At just 15 years old, those comparisons are lofty, but not entirely misplaced. Tapsoba's instincts and physical attributes make him a standout among his age group, and it's no surprise to see top European clubs circling. Newcastle's interest in Tapsoba is not just about what he offers now, but what he could become. Under the guidance of sporting director Paul Mitchell and the club's revamped recruitment department, the Magpies are prioritizing the acquisition of young, high-ceiling players before their market value explodes. Although FIFA regulations would prevent any move until Tapsoba turns 18, Newcastle want to get ahead of the competition and position themselves as a preferred destination should the striker opt for a move to Europe. In this case, early groundwork could pay off massively in the long term. Still only 15, the opportunity to grow under the tutelage of someone like Alexander Isak, most of Europe's most complete striker, could be a compelling factor in the club's pitch. Tapsoba's emergence fits seamlessly into a broader youth-centric strategy being rolled out at St. James's Park. Deals for Spanish winger Antonio Cordero and Georgian prospect Vakhtang Salia have already been wrapped up. Meanwhile, academy talents like Leo Shahar and Sam Alabai are already being exposed to the first-team environment, evidence of a clear pathway to senior football. The club's presence at tournaments like the Under-17 AFCON signals a deliberate and forward-thinking approach. By identifying and nurturing future stars before the wider market reacts, Newcastle are positioning themselves as one of Europe's most proactive and modern scouting operations. Whether or not Newcastle ultimately land Tapsoba, their real interest in the Burkinabe forward highlights a strategic shift in recruitment, one built on foresight, data, and an evolving global footprint. If Tapsoba does end up in black and white, the club could have unearthed a gem with the potential to follow in the footsteps of one of Africa's greatest modern strikers. Then finally, if you would want to know the Jason Tyndall's new secret scary system to dominate the Premier League, click the video link on screen now.